should stay right here a little longer. Barely get to see each other. We can spend the weekend on the water. Even let you take me under. No, you're usually all work, no play. Glad you came. You should stay until Saturday. 'Cause you ain't gotta work tomorrow anyway. Do you, babe? Sweet Saturdays. I got you all to myself on Saturdays. Oh yeah, babe. I can make you breakfast in the morning. Time we're spending's way too overdue. Drinking like we know where this is going. No, I'm gonna be all on go for you. We're both usually all work, no play. Glad you came. Hope you stay until Saturday. 'Cause you ain't gotta work tomorrow anyway. Do it, babe. Oh, sweet Saturday. 'Cause I got you all to myself on Saturdays. Oh yeah, babe. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Little light. All right. Here we go. Testing, testing. Test myself out. Testing. Here we go. All right. Just testing something out. All right. I'm sorry for the delay, people. I'm sorry for the delay. And we're gonna get off into this in a second. Thank you all for coming out. I'm sorry you had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we've resolved the issue. And I want to welcome you all to Supreme American TV. I'm sorry I didn't make it last week. I was busy celebrating my birthday and a lot of things going on with children. So now I'm here and we're ready to do the damn thing. But before we do, in the name of Lord Amen, the Supreme, the all-powerful, the one and only true living force, and Lord Amen we trust, and Lord Amen we thank, and in Lord Amen we continue forward forever. So let's talk about this Cynthia Erivo thing. Y'all already know me. I'm the intellectual Lord Benjamin Manhattan. And this is, of course, Supreme American TV. And we talk about a lot of different things. But what stood out to me this week is this British GQ. British GQ decided, I don't know if they were trying to be funny or is this a statement that's being made? Let me move over here because it's a little bit too much light. All right. I don't know if they're trying to be funny or this was a statement they were trying to make with Cynthia Erivo. She's the African British African actress who's been famously playing a lot of bronze American indigenous women roles. Again, I say bronze indigenous American women. For those of you, please share this on TikTok, share this on your pages, share this everywhere because we're going to get deep into this, deeper than what you expect. So share this everywhere. Share this everywhere. We're going to get really deep into this, all right? Because this deserves some attention. Let me sip my coffee. Like my CBD. This is CBD. It's not a cigarette. There's no nicotine in this. So you'll see me pulling on this from time to time. You know, as an American indigenous man, you know, we like our, our herbs. So if you see me pull on this, I don't smoke cigarettes. It's not nicotine. Just so you know, if you see me pulling on this, please understand this is just CBD hemp. This is hemp. All right. This is not harmful at all. It's just hemp. Mm. 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 I take a little sip of my water. All right. From the mason jar. All right. My thoughts on British GQ naming Cynthia Erivo Man of the Year is just simply as follows. The same way that there is a obvious agenda to emasculate so-called black men, bronze American indigenous men to be exact. The same way there's an agenda to emasculate bronze indigenous men, so-called black American men, so you understand me, is the same agenda, obviously, to emasculate, to effeminate, how you say, make masculine, what's the word? Because to emasculate the men or feminize the men, the same way, I guess, in reverse is to make the women more masculine. And even though Cynthia Erivo is not Black American, so-called Black American, she is, however, playing Black American roles. She is, however, playing Black American roles. So what's basically taking place is, Hollywood is trying to align a lot of these African actors like Cynthia Erivo, these British actors, with Black Americans. Okay, they're trying to align a lot of these Black African actors and actresses with Black Americans because they got them playing roles that would generally be played by us. She played Harriet Tubman. Cynthia Erivo, she played Harriet Tubman in that god awful movie Harriet. She also played if I'm not mistaken. I think she played Aretha Franklin, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't even bother to see it, so I couldn't even tell you because I would have rather had seen Jennifer Hudson playing. I think Jennifer Hudson did do a version of that, which I would like to see that. And now they were in talks about her playing Shaka Khan, and I'm like, all of these indigenous bronze women, all these indigenous bronze women, these indigenous American bronze women out here, so-called Black women, Black American women out here. I call them indigenous bronze American women out here that could play Shaka Khan, who looks more like Shaka Khan than Cynthia Erivo, who looks nothing like Shaka Khan. No, the genotype and the phenotype is nowhere near the same, yet they trying to get her to play Shaka Khan, which is off to me. It's off. The casting is off and everything, but it all goes along with an agenda to make so-called Black women more masculine, to make them more to take away the femininity of Black women, and they're using Cynthia Erivo as the Trojan horse for that because she looks crazy as hell. She walking around bald-headed, looking like she's using narcotics, to be honest with you, allegedly, but she looks like she's using narcotics or whatever she's using. She's walking around, of course, with the septum piercing. Y'all know about that, them septum piercings. I told you about the septum piercings. Whenever you see these Black females out here, these liberated Black females out here with the septum piercing and a pair of Chuck Taylor Converses on, you already know what it is with them. They're liberated. They lay with everything and everybody, and they let it be known that they have no allegiance to their people. She doesn't consider Black Americans her people. She doesn't, because she said a lot of disparaging things about so-called Black Americans, indigenous people, indigenous Americans here about us, yet while she's playing the parts of indigenous Black women, so-called Black women, bronze women, while she's playing parts and basically appealing to the audience here in the Americas, nobody's really checking for Cynthia Erivo elsewhere. Nobody's checking. She played in that movie Wicked, right, with Ariana Grande, and they had her out there, basically acting like a mammy for Ariana Grande, basically acting like how Q-Tip was acting. Remember the rapper Q-Tip? How Q-Tip was acting when he was hanging around Leonardo DiCaprio? Q-Tip was acting like his butler. Jumping up in photographers' faces for taking pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio and Brady fights photographers for this white boy. And Ariana Grande was doing the same, Aunt Jemima, as Q-Tip was being a Sambo for Leonardo DiCaprio. she seems like she's following up being an Aunt Jemima for Ariana Grande, the one who played. They both played in the movie Wicked, right? And I didn't bother to see that. I wouldn't let my children see things like that because I don't support garbage. I don't support nonsense that, denigrates bronze women, making her the witch. Hmm. Mm. And the white woman, the princess, of course, or however that went. I don't know. I didn't catch her. Dorothy, whatever the hell it's supposed to be. Dorothy, Wiz, or whatever it is. I don't support foolishness and stupidity. And I definitely don't support this female who has denigrated indigenous bronze people in our heritage and our culture, yet you playing our icons. I definitely don't endorse any of that, nor do I watch any of these pictures that she does. You see, I only know about her because she shows up on red carpets, and she's she's a sight, as you can see, to look at, a terrible sight, because I don't know why nobody's not looking at this female like she's crazy. Why is nobody saying anything about her walking around looking like a stud? Walking around, looking like she's malnourished. I don't understand what's appealing about this female that any casting director would put her in any movies. And again, I'm not trying to, stop her from making her money and making a living, but I just don't see, she built like, she is. Yeah. Yeah, she's from Africa. I think she's Nigerian, if I'm not mistaken. She's I think she's Nigerian, but she was in Britain. She's in England, and one of the Nigerians that moved to England. I think she's Nigerian, but she was saying a lot of disparaging things about American indigenous bronze people, and like I said, now this thing where they're pushing her as man of the year. This is a lot of gender bending right here. This is a lot of gender bending and trying to, blur the lines between masculinity and femininity. This is what I'm seeing here. A lot of gender bending. Lines between masculinity and femininity. And she seems like she's on board with it, like a lot of these Hollywood actors and actresses are on board with it, who want to keep getting paychecks, who are okay, like a lot of these men are okay with doing man on man roles, and whatever they doing behind the scenes, or pushing this envelope to emasculate the image of Black American men, so-called Black American men. And she just seems like they're doing the same thing with her, because she's not denigrating Nigerian women. I think she's Nigerian, if I'm not mistaken. She's Nigerian. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said her and Ariana Grande have something very strange going on. I don't think it's anything strange going on past the press releases where she was out there being an Aunt Jemima, for Miss Becky, for Ariana Grande. I don't think it's anything more than that. But again, you got to look at the optics. Look at the optics. Look at how this is meant to look. This is meant to look solely like somebody who's catering to and putting up white women on a pedestal, while meanwhile putting themselves at the bottom. Because you should have seen how she was jumping all in front of cameramen and whatnot, and basically mammying herself out for Ariana Grande, putting her up and putting herself up as the bulldog and the protector. And I'm just like, this is not a good look. This is not a good look for Black women, so-called Black women. But as you can see, Cynthia Erivo doesn't care about her image. She doesn't care about what she is being asked or being made to do. Because I'm pretty sure the studio or the people that who put out it meant, asked her to basically, put on this image, of a protector over Ariana Grande, which I don't understand why, because these are two females, and the only reason I could think that they would ask her to do it is because they're trying to put because they always do this in Hollywood, and they do this in just in general in society. The racists, they always try to put the black woman against the so-called white woman, and usually the black woman, they try to push the black woman out um, as a masculine, studdish type of image, one who has no femininity whatsoever. Because Cynthia Erivo has like zero femininity. She looks like she has zero femininity. You see, she looks like a stud. And it's the same way when they show you black females, they put them next to white females. When the white females, they'll get the best looking white female and they'll put her next to a black female who's either overweight, who's not that attractive, when we know we got some beautiful bronze sisters. But see, the optics, nobody thinks about that at the time. Nobody says, oh, because you'll start to think there's no attractive so-called black American women. You'll start to believe that there's no attractive black American women. But again, Cynthia Erivo is not a black American woman. They're just meshing that all together, which is why I say, and this goes back to what I'm saying, that the people behind the scenes, the ones that's pulling the strings, and when I'm talking about the people behind the scenes, I'm talking about the people who are in control of public depictions, the people who are in charge of pop culture. They're obviously the people who run Hollywood and entertainment industry and media industry. They're obviously trying to paint a narrative of masculine black women. Like when they did the Viola Davis thing with the woman king, right? When they did the woman king, right? Where they had Viola Davis there and she's playing they calling her a woman king, not a queen, but a woman king. Basically, because when you're snatching away the masculinity of the men, well, I'm saying when you snatching away the masculinity of so-called black men, black American men, and when you snatching that away and feminizing them, you're going to push that energy elsewhere. And where's that energy going to go? It's going to go to their women. It's going to go to the women. You see, lots of African women are masculine. Yeah, I know a lot of African women are masculine. A lot of African women are masculine. They're very hard women. A lot of them, not saying all, but a lot of them are. And obviously, Cynthia Erivo is one of those females. She's one of those African females who's masculine, but that image gets dumped on black American women. That image gets dumped on black American women, and it makes it look like all of you are hard, all of you. Because when people look at Cynthia Erivo, they just see a black woman. They don't see an African woman. They don't see a African. They just see a black woman. And they don't care about African American, nothing. They just see a black woman, which is why I say, and I've been saying this before, American indigenous women, y'all need to stand apart from African women. American indigenous people need to separate from African and that whole term of African American, because number one, that's not the proper identification for us, because black Americans are not African. We need to be standing on our own, away from black, away from African American, or away from African, period. Because what it does is it gets people like Cynthia Erivo, who had a lot of negative things to say about black Americans and whatnot, American indigenous people. She had a lot of negative things to say about our people on her was it Instagram? It was on her Instagram. I think she was doing the Akata thing too, and disrespecting black indigenous people, but yet you sitting up here taking roles that are, that should be played by black American people, black American women. You taking roles like that, like Harriet Tubman and things like that. So that just goes to show you that these people, they want to lump us all into one, meaning so-called black people, which again, I told you, I'm against that term black people, because black can lump us in with everybody. You got Africans over here who hate our guts, who hate American indigenous people's guts, yet they'll come over here and cosplay and act like they black like us and call themselves black people, and they not like us. They have vitriol for our people. They have a hatred for our people, yet they're able to come over here, go into Hollywood, by way of England, and next thing you know, they're coming over here and they playing our roles for a lot less money. And let's just face it, these people will do anything, as you can see in the case of Cynthia Erivo. These people will do anything, even if it means promoting black Americans as negative, as misogynistic, as degenerates. You know, these people will promote us anyway. But see, because sometimes I guess they figure you might have Black American men who might have an issue with playing gay roles. You might have Black American women who might have an issue with playing gay roles, but you get a bunch of African actors who can be classified as Black people, because once they get up around us, they just throw them into the damn melting pot, and then we just all Black people. Okay. Or they can claim African American because they are from Africa, and technically, if they get citizenship here in America, they could be African Americans. Excuse me. They can be African Americans because that's a term for an immigrant who comes from Africa and comes into America. So Cynthia Erivo, if she's a citizen of the United States, she can be considered an African American. You see how easy that is for them to just mesh into our heritage and our culture? You see how easy it is? You see how easy it is for them to just mesh in, and then they just crap all over our image as so-called Black people. Because again, nobody's looking at whether she's Black American or African. They looking at her as a Black woman. They see her no different than the rest of you Black women. Y'all should have a problem with that. You should have a problem with the fact that Cynthia Erivo is not seen, or is seen as no different than any other so-called Black woman. Now, in other races and groups of people, they will distinguish who is what nationality, what ethnicity. They will distinguish that. Like, you won't see an Asian actor, let's just say an Asian actor who's Chinese, and you call him or try to link him with Japanese, he'll let you know quickly, I'm not Japanese, I'm Chinese. Or I'm not Filipino, I'm not any of the other Asian Taiwanese and all the other Asian ethnicities. They'll let you know that I'm Chinese, I'm Japanese, so I'm this, I'm that. When it comes to so-called Black people, I'm just Black. So people like Cynthia Erivo could come in, people like Idris Elba could come in, and they can take roles from Black Americans, take roles from our people. We got all these talented Black American actors. They could come in and take roles, and next thing you know, they getting a lot less money. Next thing you know, they can do things that are degrading. They'll be willing to do things that are degrading as actors, but they okay with it because the world is seeing these actors, these African actors, knowing they're seeing them as Black Americans. That's how they see you. They see you as Black American. They don't see you as African actors. They see you as Black American actors, because 9 times out of 10, they're playing Black American roles. That's why I said we have to stand away from these people as American indigenous people, bronze American indigenous people, or American bronze people, American indigenous bronze people, separate from Black Africans, and make it loud that we saying we American indigenous, man. We're not Africans, and we shouldn't have Africans playing our roles. We shouldn't have Africans playing our roles. We shouldn't have anybody who's not American indigenous playing our roles. You see, we should make noise about that. Like this guy, David Akendo, or whatever his name is. He, the guy who's playing Bass Reeves, he's an African guy. Now, again, no disrespect to the Africans, but you're playing an American indigenous man, a bronze American indigenous man. That's why I say bronze American indigenous, because we got bronze skin and we indigenous to America. Or an indigenous bronze man, an indigenous bronze American man. I'll be just gonna say bronze indigenous American. You playing a bronze indigenous American, and you are African. Bass Reeves was over 6 feet tall. This guy, David Akendo, or whatever his name is, who playing Bass Reeves. I don't know if that series is still on. He's like 5'8", 5'9". So he doesn't look anything like Bass Reeves. I've never seen the series, and I don't want to, because I'm very much a stickler for continuity, for the proper actors, and the aesthetics of it. I'm very much a stickler for that. That's why it's hard for me to watch stuff that's not, historically correct. This guy who's playing it, but they just say it's just like how the police do. It's like how the police do. You fit the description when they say this to American indigenous bronze people. You fit the description, and what's the description? Somebody did something. Oh, The description is anywhere from 5 feet to 6'5", light to dark skin. Basically, all these general things. My point is that they throw all of these dark people with dark skin, don't matter if they're African or whatever, they throw them all into roles and try to line them up with indigenous bronze people and trying to say we're the same people. You see, and it's no different with this Cynthia Erivo thing. That's why I say, we could look at it like, oh, well, Cynthia Erivo is not of our American indigenous lineage or heritage. She's not of our American indigenous heritage or lineage. So therefore, she's not, if British GQ want to paint her as the man of the year, we shouldn't have no problem with that. And that sounds good, but you should have a problem with it because, again, they're making a statement that all Black women are not to be seen as feminine. This is the statement they make. You know how they lump you all into one thing? All black, so-called Black women, indigenous women should be lumped into the category of being masculine. See, because you'll notice this because you'll see even in the police departments when they're dealing with so-called Black women, like in that case of what's the lady that got shot? They got shot by the police officer, Sandra Massey. You see how he treated Sandra Massey like a man. The police officer, that white police officer who shot Sandra Massey, he treated her like a man. Because I guarantee you, if Sandra Massey was a white woman, he wouldn't have thought about picking up a gun. Even if she threw hot water at them, he wouldn't have thought about picking up no gun and shooting her. They would have tackled her first before they did that because they believe in white femininity. These police officers believe in white femininity. Indigenous American Indians is more correct. No crayon or color. Okay. But like I said, again, all right, American indigenous. I say American indigenous. Why? Because it means that we are indigenous to the land of America as Americans. I only say bronze so that you know that the only reason I say bronze because that's actually our skin complexion. We come in many different shades of bronze and copper, and it's also so that we don't get it confused with these so-called Native Americans who want to call themselves indigenous. But I'm all for just American indigenous. I don't even really like the term Indian only because you got the Hindus now calling themselves Indian. So, Indian is a culture, but indigenous deals with the landmass. We are American indigenous. So I like AI. I like American indigenous. We don't have to put the bronze part. We know we American indigenous, not to be confused with Native Americans. You know who the Native Americans are? But notice now all of a sudden, your so-called Native Americans want to claim indigenous. And why? Because we claim an indigenous. We saying we not Native Americans. We saying we indigenous. Now all of a sudden they want to claim it. You know how they do whenever we come up on something and we discover our heritage, here they come. Here they come trying to, align themselves with us. You see, they have no color. We know that already. Okay. Well, we know we're not Native American. We know we American indigenous. I prefer to use that. And we should use that so that this is how we'll be able to separate from the so-called Africans. Because again, the African American title is being taken up by the Africans who are coming over here. They're the African Americans, the ones who are coming over here, who are immigrating over here from parts of Africa into America. They are now taking over that term African American. They're taking over that term African American, which is why we should stand strong in who we are as American indigenous people, real Americans. We should stand strong in that and say and make it known that we don't want to be labeled as African American no more or Black anymore. We want to be known as American indigenous. The Native Americans got their lane, leave them in their lane. We're not trying to be no Native Americans. The African Americans got their lane, which is your people like Cynthia Erivo, because technically, like I said, if Cynthia Erivo is a citizen of the United States and she's able to come and go in the United States, she resides here, then she's an African American. Elon Musk is an African American. Forget the color thing. Elon Musk is an African American. Okay. Cynthia Erivo is an African American. African Americans have no real color. But you know what? American indigenous people only have one color. That's the copper colored people. So from now on, you know what? I don't even have to say it. When we say American indigenous, the AIs, the American indigenous, we talking about us, man. That's our lane. Cynthia Erivo is not indigenous to America. She's not American indigenous. She shouldn't be playing Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan is American indigenous. I'm American indigenous. You all out here, we American indigenous, and American indigenous people are all over the planet. You got American indigenous people in Africa, bronze-skinned people in Africa who are American indigenous who are not African. We everywhere. We in South America, we in Central America, we in North America, people who are indigenous to the Americas. Okay. All right. Yep, that's true. They're always trying to grab lifeline. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. Shaka Zulu, maybe. Cali just signed the bill. So African American term is going bye-bye. Good. African freedmen is the corrected lineage from the African American. No, it should just be American indigenous. It should just be American indigenous. It shouldn't be no African freedmen because, again, they trying to dance around everything, or American freedmen. They trying to dance around everything other than calling us American indigenous. And I'm not for that American freedmen nonsense. I'm not for that. Because, again, that's linked back to slavery. Because if you're saying we freed, then you saying that's more another way of saying we descendants of slaves. Because a freed people means that you were once enslaved. Okay? I don't like the freed term. I damn sure don't like FBA. No, because, according to the FBA thing, that's saying that we are indigenous. Tariq Nasheed said, because he came with the FBA thing, and he came with his own ideology on what FBA means, which he's saying that we are indigenous to the United States of America. This is his words. And I'm only quoting Tariq Nasheed because Tariq Nasheed came with the FBA thing. He's the one that introduced that term, and he introduced the meaning of FBA. He talks about an ethnogenesis and how we was African and we came over from Africa and on slave ships and mixed them with the indigenous so-called black people here, and we had an ethnogenesis, and that's how we came out, which is a lie. That is a bold-faced lie. And I proved that it was a lie because you can't keep pointing to hairlines and saying that, oh, we got different hairlines than the Africans and whatnot, which we do. We got full-on hairlines, as you can see. You can't keep saying that we different from Africans, but then you saying that we got lineage in Africa, which we do not. That's a lie. That's a lie. You see, she sure do look like Shaka Zulu. Yeah, she do look like Shaka Zulu. She do look like Shaka Zulu. Nicki Minaj looked more like was it Nicki Minaj? She looked more like Shaka Khan than her. Right? Nicki Minaj looks more like Shaka Khan than Cynthia Erivo. That would be a slap in the face. That's just basically saying all you niggas look alike. That's what that's basically. All you niggas look alike. That's what that's saying. That's, oh yeah, you fit the description of the anywhere from 5'2" to 6'4". So basically everybody goes in the net. And like I said, how we solve all that is start declaring ourselves as American indigenous. Because that's what I do. I put American indigenous. I write American indigenous down. I don't write American Indian. I don't write African American. I write American indigenous because American Indian could easily get mixed up with Indian Americans. Because you see how the government was so quick to want to get rid of American Indian and, hand that over to the so-called Hindus and call them Indian Americans. Okay. I just put American indigenous. I don't want to be linked with American Indian and Eskimo and all this stuff. So we just write down American indigenous because we should have our own lane as bronze people, as copper-colored races. We should have our own lane, which is American indigenous. We don't need nothing else. We don't need no FBA. We don't need no FBA. We don't need no African American. We don't need no freedmen. That's all a misnomer. All right. That's all that is. All right. Hold on a second. All right. So yeah, so she definitely should be playing that part. And again, on with the emasculation thing. This all happens because remember I said that, the people who shape public opinion, the people in the media, they're trying to make us all into one big Black African. They're trying to make us all into one big Black African. You see? Yeah, they must have ancestry in China. Who has ancestry in China? Somebody says they must have ancestry in China. Who has ancestry in China? Nicki Minaj and Shaka Khan? Are you saying that because who are you saying, Levon? Who has ancestry in China? Are you saying Shaka Khan and Nicki Minaj? The white terror extracted off books and they took over during Civil War. Well, again, what you call an Asian features was originally part of our features. Remember, we are the original people of the earth. So therefore, all the features, you got people who got what you would call Asian features, who are bronze, full-on indigenous people, and they got what you would call slanted eyes and things like that. So don't necessarily link that to Asians. You see, we have our own looks to us. Again, we need to stop being swallowed up by everybody else. They're trying to swallow up the indigenous people, the American indigenous people of this land, us. Our culture is unique from everybody else's. Our culture is not African. Our culture is not Native American. It is American indigenous, meaning indigenous only to America. Our music, our food, our swag, as they say, our style is all indigenous to America. It is homegrown American. So that's why I have an issue when people sit up here and try to Africanize us, because even Tariq Nasheed was trying to Africanize us. Yes, he was, because he's the one that came up with this. There was a transatlantic slave trade and we all got mixed in together. That's a lie. He's making that up. I'm not saying he's willfully lying, because again, that's just what he believes, but that's not true. Because when Africans were brought over into America, they didn't bring only 3% of them was brought here into America, and they didn't come into North America. They brought them into South America and dropped some of them off there, small number that came there, and sprinkled them into the Caribbean islands. They didn't come into North America. So all this African slave trading that we all got African is a lie. That's a lie. You see, she has a twin from Venezuela. Well, Venezuela, Trinidad, Caribbean, that's all indigenous land. That's all American indigenous people. Jamaica, all that, even though a lot of our people are off, but these are all American indigenous territories. Jamaica, Venezuela, all this is all in the Americas. Be it South America, Central America, North America, it's all in the American continents, the two continents of America, South and North America, which we are indigenous to both continents. So it is an American thing. And I say we the only real Americans here. So why are you sitting up here letting people call you African American, call you black, call you freedmen, call you FBA? They want to call us everything but what we are, American indigenous Americans. They don't want to call us that because the government wants to make Americans seem like it, like whenever they come to us, they make it seem like, oh, anybody could be us. Anybody could be us. But when it comes to them and their heritage and culture, oh, you can't be this. That's like saying I could go to Italy and be Italian. I can't go to Italy and be Italian. I can't go to Ireland and be Irish. I don't care how long I live over there. If I move over there, get a white wife over there, whatever, and I just decide to mix my seed and be living in Ireland, I'm not Irish. My children won't be Irish because we're not part of that lineage. That's the same thing with white people in America. White people are not Americans. They're not. I don't care. They trace their heritage back to Europe. White people are not Americans. I don't care what they try to sign or say or try to get recognized as. Their lineage is not American. There is an American lineage here. The Native Americans are not American because they can trace their heritage and their origins back to Siberia and Asia. So they're not American. Everybody has a homeland except us that they came from. We the only ones that don't have a homeland where we came from elsewhere. We were always in America, which makes our nationality American. Indigenous America or American indigenous, because we are the people of the land. Simple as that. Cynthia Erivo's not us. And again, I told y'all by adopting terminologies like African American and black puts her in alignment and makes people think that she can play our roles, that she can speak for, that her image can, speak for all of us. And it can't. It shouldn't be allowed to. She shouldn't be allowed to. She don't look like us. She's not us. We got to stop letting people just mesh in and become us. Again, that's what happens when you use black, because the Africans can come in and say, I'm black too. When you say African American, they definitely could come in and say, I'm African American too. You see? See how black and African American can just come in and just, co-opt it? Look who's taking over the traditionally American indigenous magazines like Ebony and Jet. These are homegrown American indigenous magazines. Essence, that bronze people started. Look who taking it over, the Africans. And it's no disrespect to the Africans, but I'm saying, if you're calling these things African American, then guess what? The real African Americans are going to show up, and they are showing up, and they showing out. And they already saying, they coming out saying that they the real African Americans. And you know what? I agree with them. They are the real African Americans. They should be seen as African Americans, and we should be seen as American indigenous. And Cynthia Erivo, trying to emasculate Cynthia Erivo, this is when you American indigenous women of bronze complexion, you bronze complected American indigenous women, y'all should make it a point to say, she ain't us. She ain't us. We American indigenous over here. She's an African. Y'all should make it a point, because when something good happens for them, they're quick to let you know that they're Nigerian. They're quick to let you know that they're African. They're quick to let you know that they're not us. But they can sit up here and take our roles and things like this and then act like they us. Exactly. Africans know we're not African. The Africans know we're not African. They know we're not African, so we need to be standing up. We need to be standing up for who we are as American indigenous people. We should only answer to American indigenous. That's it. We shouldn't be answering to African, African American, Black, none of that. And we shouldn't be allowing, we should be sitting up here showing by our, when they put out movies like Wicked or anything with Cynthia Erivo in it, where she's portraying any so-called Black person, y'all should be the first to say no by the ticket sales. Don't give these studios none of our money. Don't rent none of these videos. Don't let your children watch them, because they sitting up here pushing Cynthia Erivo in your face. They pushing all these African actors in your face, and they're not. They disrespect our culture. They disrespect the culture. They disrespect our American indigenous culture. Yes, we are the American indigenous culture here in America. Yes, we are. Okay. Somebody said some Roots, the movie. Chicken George introduced Kunta Kinte to the American indigenous. Chicken George introduced Kunta Kinte to the American indigenous show. He said to this kid, "You never seen." No, it wasn't Chicken George. It was that wasn't Chicken George that did it, because Chicken George was his grandson, supposedly. It was excuse me. It was the character Fiddler, I think, which was played by Lou Gossett. You're talking about that movie Roots. It was the character of Lou Gossett, Fiddler. I think he introduced them to the indigenous people. And I was going to do something on that, which I'm going to still do, why Alex Haley lied about having African roots, because he did lie about that. The only thing he was kind of true was truthful about was his American ancestors being slaves. That's the only thing he was truthful about. He added the African part because I'm pretty sure the Wolper Company probably wanted, the people, the powers that be behind the scenes are trying to push this whole African thing. They want American indigenous people, us, to claim African. They want American indigenous people, us, bronze people, to claim African as a way to erase our heritage. Do you know we have a very, very, very rich and long heritage in the Americas as the first people in the Americas, the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, the American indigenous tribes that came into North America who broke away from the Mayans and the Aztec. That's our heritage in America as American indigenous people, as the real Americans of this land. And certain people that be the powers that be behind it have been trying to erase that, been trying to mesh us in with the Africans. Remember, it was a time where they differentiated us from the African. They called us Negroids and they called them Africoid. Remember, they used to have that thing, the so-called pseudoscience, where they had Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid, and Africoid. Remember I told you that? I remember that. I remember that they had the separation of the ethnicities of people. They only had four. They had Africoid, Mongoloid, Caucasoid, and Negroid. How many of y'all remember that Negroid and Africoid was not the same? It was not. Now they're trying to make Africoid all one thing and trying to make us African now. You see? Have you been to a planet called Planet Africa in Italy? I've never been to Italy. You see? Yeah, Alex Haley got sued. He got sued for plagiarizing a book by a white man named Harold Corlander. That's where the character of Kunta Kinte came from. So why would Alex Haley have to lie Why would he have to lie if he had African origins, if he had African ancestor called Kunta Kinte, who's supposed to be the progenitor of his bloodline here in America? Why would he have to lie? Answer: because the people behind him wanted indigenous Americans, American indigenous bronze people, to start embracing Africanism. They wanted us to start embracing Africanism, and they wanted us to stop, claiming American Indian, American indigenous. They wanted us to stop claiming it because the Caucasians wanted to be the American Indians. What you see right now, when you see these Caucasians up here registering as indigenous people, they straight up from Europe registering as indigenous people, wearing feathered head crowns and all this other stuff. That picture I put on my wall about this white boy, he's up here with a damn feathered head crown of the indigenous people, and you have a so-called black female giving him a certificate acknowledging him as indigenous to America. This is a straight up white man, straight up caveman, acknowledging him as American indigenous. While y'all sitting up here talking about we black Americans, we African Americans, we freedmen. Now, we ain't no damn freedmen, because everybody wasn't a slave here. Okay? Say what we really are, which is American indigenous. Stop letting people play in our face, man. Stop letting people play in our face. And you women out there, you indigenous women, you American indigenous women out there, so-called black women, you American indigenous bronze women out there, you need to let it be known that you are American indigenous bronze women, not black women, not African Americans, not freed women, or whatever the hell they want to call you, and that people like Cynthia Erivo are not your kind. They do not represent you, because she has no problem getting on Twitter talking about so-called black American women, this, them black American people, and clowning us. So you know what? The true delineation needs to be away from anything black, anything African, anything that's dealing with freedmen or slavery, or calling us descendants of slaves, because we were more than just descendants of some damn slaves. Everybody here wasn't slaves. We had a long, long history, an indigenous history in America, before the Caucasians came here from Europe, before the Siberians came over here and became the Native Americans. We were always here, and our history should reflect that. Yeah, remember, but to be Negro is African. Exactly. Now to be Negro is African, which is false, because you ain't never heard them call no Africans Negroes. You never heard them. They never called Africans Negroes. They trying to mesh that in all together. Remember, Muhammad Ali said that. They used to know that Africans and Negroes are different. The white man back in the 50s and 60s, they knew. And remember, Muhammad Ali told that story. I put it on my thing where he said that in 1958, when he tried to go into a restaurant in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, he said that he couldn't go into a place to get a hamburger because they didn't serve Negroes. But then he said he saw two African gentlemen, darker than him, way darker than him, wearing they robes and everything else, and they African stuff. You know how Africans look. He said they was just, I don't know what they was doing in Kentucky, but they went in and they let them in and let them get something to eat. And the white man said, let them in. They're not Negroes. Do you hear me? Look that up with Muhammad Ali. I put it on my wall on TikTok when you get a chance. He said, the white guy said, who owned the restaurant, let the Africans in. They're not Negroes. They didn't serve Muhammad Ali. He's a Negro. Why? Because a Negro is another way of saying Indian. The American Negro is the American Indian. And they hate the American Indians in this country. The so-called white man hates the American Indians because our history, our existence, our very existence in America robs them of the lie that they want to perpetrate, that they are indigenous to America. See, our existence as American indigenous people, and especially that we know that we American indigenous people, that robs them of the lie they trying to put across. Because remember, in the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary, the term American, the definition of an American was the copper-colored races who were found here by the Europeans. And now the Europeans are calling themselves American. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but that's what the definition, the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary tells you, that the original Americans is us. The original, first and only real Americans by nationality, by indigenous status, is us. We are American by nationality. White people are not Americans. Asians are not American. Native Americans are not American. We are. So we should just be claiming American or American indigenous solely. That's it. And I know I got a little off topic, but nigger was also a word used toward American Indian. Oh yeah, nigger too. Nigger came from the American. Why? Because the American Indians owned all the land, and they were called stingy people, which is where the term niggardly came from. Niggardly was an English word that they just started cutting it down and calling us niggers because they were short for niggardly, stingy people. That's really where the word nigger come from. It don't come from no nigger and no African nothing. That's a lie. Because again, a lot of these Pan-Africanists, they work right along with these people from behind the scenes, Caucasians behind the scenes that's trying to erase us. A lot of these Pan-Africans, a lot of these Pan-African African studies people, the dashiki wearing, these Negroes with the white band names, but yet they claim to be African. Umar Johnson, they use these people to push the narrative that we came over on slave ships, that we African. They use them to push that narrative. But then when you see the Olmecs, because ask yourself this question. I'm about to wrap this up in a minute, but ask yourself a question. You talk about Dr. John Henry Clark. You talk about Ivan Van Sertima. Ivan Van Sertima, he kind of was trying to allude that we indigenous to America. So I'm not going to put Ivan Van Sertima up there. But you talk about John Henry Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin, all the so-called master teachers, Dr. Smalls and all them other people, Umar, all these, what's the other guy's name? Dr. Leonard Jeffries, all these guys who were called master teachers in the 90s and all this from the conscious community. Nobody sitting up here, Ashwa Kwesi, all these people who was trying to put us on planes to go to Egypt and look at a bunch of falling down ruins, but yet not once did they say, hey, you know what? Our people built all those pyramids, over 2,000 pyramids in South and Central America. We built societies in the Americas before there was anybody here, and that we indigenous to America. How come none of these master teachers told us that? How come none of these master teachers told us that we indigenous to America, that we built the pyramids in the Americas? How come they ain't tell us that? Yet they supposed to be so-called historical scholars. Huh? Ask yourself that question. Right? So they wanted the American indigenous people, the real original Americans. They wanted to basically erase us, like they're still trying to erase us today by calling us black people. That's a form of erasure, man. Y'all still don't get it? You got people walking around here ignorant as hell, calling themselves black people. That's a form of erasure. Allowing Cynthia Erivo to take on American indigenous roles of the American indigenous women, allowing her to do that is another form of erasure. Allowing an African female who clearly has vitriol and hatred for American indigenous people, bronze people, allowing her or having her linked with us is like I said, cultural suicide. That's cultural suicide to have a Cynthia Erivo, a David Okondo, a Quindo, and all them playing our American indigenous heroes like Bass Reeves. David Okondo, you playing Bass Reeves is ridiculous. That man was over 6 feet tall. You 5'8". He also played Martin Luther King. Not that I care about him, but he also played Martin Luther King. Again, why don't they play some of their African heroes? Why don't they play their African heroes? Why don't they play the heroes in Africa? Oh, that's right. They don't really got none. You see, it is a form of genocide. Ethno-genocide, yes, it is. When you hear certain people talking about we FBAs and we had a ethnogenesis, making up stuff, lying, talking about we had an ethnogenesis where we came over here as Africans and mixed in with the indigenous people, and that's a lie. That is a lie. There was no ethnogenesis in America because, again, Tariq Nasheed, I keep saying this. If you say that we got African in this, then how come you keep pointing out how different we are from the Africans? Do that make sense? Am I bugging out or what? Tariq Nasheed is talking about we had an ethnogenesis. We part African and part American indigenous, which is him calling us African American again. You see, somebody wants us to be African American. Can't you see that? Somebody wants us to be African American. When it was Jesse Jackson pushing that nonsense in 1988 at the behest of his Caucasian superiors, or whether it's Tariq Nasheed now with the FBA thing. Somebody wants us to be African American. Can't you see behind the line? Somebody wants us to be African American. Somebody wants us to act like we a bunch of damn foreigners in our own land. Okay? He's saying, Tariq Nasheed, by calling you FBA, and he explains the FBA thing, he's calling you African American again. FBA is nothing but the African American remix, bro. That's nothing but African American remix. That gives people like Cynthia Erivo, David Akendo, Chickwell Geofor, and all them other people that's coming over from Africa, taking up American indigenous people's roles and acting like us. That's opening the door for them. And by opening the door for them, you erasing us, man. By calling us freedmen, by calling us black people, by calling us African American, by calling us FBA, you erasing our American indigenous heritage. And you hear people like Tariq Nasheed, he downplays our American indigenous heritage. He downplays it. He's the one that was calling us pretendians. He was part of that pretendian nonsense like Coon Ma Johnson. Coon Ma Johnson. He was part of it calling us pretendians. All this history that people like, shout out to Dane Calloway, shout out to Kareem Howell, all these people who are real, who become American indigenous historians, who are proving that we the real American indigenous people. Shout out to Sister Enrod Vizetta, American Indigenous TV. All the people that's putting out this information of us being American indigenous, all these channels out here, been around for years, yet y'all still calling us pretendians? There's an agenda at play here. Trying to make black like that's a real lineage. That's not, black is not a lineage. Black is not a lineage. It's a form of erasure. Black is a form of erasure. Because when you black something out, you redact it, you're covering it. So when you call us black people, you're covering our American indigenous heritage. That's what you're doing. And that's what Tariq Nasheed is doing. Whether he's willfully doing it or not. But I see he's downplaying our American indigenous heritage. He's downplaying it. Oh, what tribe you want to be part? What tribe? We got real tribes. So it's basically you telling us to spit in the face of our American indigenous ancestors. You trying to downplay, there was some black American indigenous people. No. This place was full of American indigenous people, so-called black people here. It was always full of our people here. We ain't had no damn African ethnogenesis. Get out of here with that. And I remember Tariq Nasheed even saying that only 3% of Africans came over here into America, and they got dropped off in the West Indies, in the Caribbean, the few that came here. So again, man, a lot is at play. Just like with this Cynthia Erivo thing, the same people playing behind the scenes, trying to make black, so-called black women masculine. It's the same machine, man. It's the same machine that put these people in positions to play in our face and lie to us, man. But that's it. So American indigenous women, don't fall for the nonsense. Don't fall for the madness. I'm about to wrap this up. Can y'all please, because again, I'm pushing the whole reality of who we are as American indigenous people. One of the biggest things to push that so we can get away from the whole black thing, the whole African American thing, or any kind of remixes to it, is by showing up and showing out as American indigenous people. So could y'all go down below and hit the link, or go to my LinkedIn and hit the link under Benjamin Manhattan, and the Ben Manhattan, hit the link and support the American Indigenous Street and Music Festival. We're doing it next year, 2026 in May. So we doing this in Atlanta. We did it this year in June. It was a historical event, a monumental event. And one of my people tried to promote that on Tariq Nasheed's thing, and he was like, "Oh, that's weird." I'm like, "What was weird about that? Why wouldn't you want to support our American indigenous culture and heritage?" But he seemed like he make fun of that. He makes fun of that because he wants us to embrace blackness, whatever the hell that is. There's no such thing as no black lineage. There's no such thing as no African American lineage. There's no such thing as no FBA lineage. He made that up. I'm going to just say it like that. So don't call yourself a historian and then speak on the indigenous stuff. You don't even know what you're talking about. Don't call yourself that. Especially if you want to downplay us as American indigenous people, because we the only real American indigenous people here, not the so-called red Native Americans. They're not indigenous. And the term, again, I'm going to say this one more time. Native American and American indigenous are not the same thing. Tariq Nasheed always gets that mixed up. So support the American Indigenous Street Music Festival so we can continue to represent as American indigenous people. The American Indigenous Street Music Festival, it went viral. We had a decent turnout. We're going to make it bigger every year. We just started it this year. We're going to keep going because our children need to know. We need to know. The world needs to see who the real American indigenous people look like. Don't let the Native Americans claim indigenous because they're not indigenous. Let them stay with their term Native American. They wasn't thinking about talking about being indigenous till we start saying it. So that's our lane as American indigenous people. Okay. And we should support this festival. I put up a lot of money. My people put up a lot of money. A lot of people came put up. So we trying to raise $24,000 for this year, next year's festival in May. So please hit the link down below. Donate $20 to it, $30, whatever you can to donate to that. Because we need to have our own American Indigenous Festival, our own American Street Music Festival. I'm sick and tired of anything that we do being given to Africans, Africans are being given credit for our music. Native Americans are now trying to claim our music, claiming that, oh, somebody was up there talking about Michael Jackson and all. Man, listen, man. These people are trying to claim our music, claim our heritage, claim the things that came from us. They up here trying to dance like us and rap like us, but then they told them we ain't got no culture. So our culture is American Indigenous culture. Our culture is American Indigenous culture, American culture. The only real culture that was started here in America. Everybody else came from someplace else. We are American culture. So help us to produce the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. Go and donate. Hit the link down below if you truly are about this business of us putting it out there, letting the world know we American Indigenous people. Also, because I asked this question too. I said, now that we know we American Indigenous people, now what? Now we know we American Indigenous people, now what? Are we going to be sitting around here talking, yeah, putting on feathered head crowns, we indigenous, but y'all still acting like African Americans. You're still acting like black people. Why? Because not until we have our own American Indigenous community can we actually say we American Indigenous. Now that we have knowledge of who we truly are as Americans by nationality, we've been sitting in America, letting people tell us we Muslims and Christians and Israelites and Seventh-day, all that nonsense, or that we Africans and Pan-African and all that other nonsense. No, we are American, and we should be celebrating our American heritage as the only real indigenous Americans. We in our land, we got to stop letting people tell us who the hell we are in our land. These people are foreigners, every last single one of them, except us. So we need our own community. So become a registered American, become a registered Indigenous American in the Indigenous Republic of America, a community that we founded for our people. Go to ROA Worldwide. You'll see the link down below. Hit the link ROA, Republic of America, ROA Worldwide, for all our American Indigenous people of bronze descent. Our bronze Indigenous American people, because again, we have to say bronze sometimes because we don't want people claiming Native American Indigenous or trying to align. We don't want to, in other words, we don't want to mix up the Native Americans with the American Indigenous people. We know this is the face of the American Indigenous people, and the natives over there, those are the Mongolians over there. So again, they can stay in their lane. We in our lane as American Indigenous people. So join the Republic of America, ROA Worldwide, and become a registered American in the Republic of America, because this is the first and only real American Indigenous community, the only real American community. American is our heritage. As it said in the 1828 Merriam-Webster Dictionary of American, they was describing us. And that's it. That's it. Also, check out the American Indigenous channel, Sister Enron Vincetta, one of our sisters. Check out Draconian Rules clothing line. You've seen that in there. So we doing business here. Also, I'm revamping my Unlimited Epics comic book site. Where we got I don't like to call it comic books. It's more epic books. We revamping our site, Unlimited, and we're gonna have our books up for sale again, our epic books. So check this out. And that's about it, right? Not Indian they're red men, which is true. They call them red men. We bronze people. The indigenous copper-colored races. That's us. We come in many different shades of copper, because they like to tell this lie that we came over here as black Africans, and then we started mixing in with everybody from the white man to the Asian, and that's why we came in different shades. That's a lie. That's a damn lie. We always came in different shades. My brother's light skin. My sister's is light skin. My two brother and sister who lighter than me, light skin. And we all got the same parents. My other sister a little lighter than me. We all got the same parents. So we've always come in different shades and complexions. You look back on the Bone and Pont Temple on the walls in the Bone and Pont Temple in Mesoamerica. That's our people on those walls. That's our people on the Bone and Pont temples, and they come in many different shades. You got dark-skinned bronze people. You got light-skinned bronze people. You got brownish, reddish bronze skinned people. We come in different shades all the time. That's why they call us the copper-colored races, to denote that we came in many different shades and complexions, not just no dark skin. And that's it. We make up all the colors, all the copper colors. We come in all different shades. It had nothing to do with no mixing in with other race. That's a lie. Because if that's true, then how come they don't accept you in those other races if that means something? Let's say you got a Caucasian somewhere in your bloodline or Asian somewhere. Our genetics done swallowed up our strong genetics done swallow that all up, man. Our strong genetics done swallow up. We don't look like that no more, even if we did, which we don't. But our genetics will swallow all of that because our genetics are dominant. Our genetics eats up everybody's recessive DNA. So let's represent as American indigenous people going forward. Let's cut out the games. No more FBA games. No more African American games. No more black games, because it gives people like Cynthia, Erivo, and all these other people license to come into our culture and claim our culture. I done seen people sit up there with Tariq Nasheed talking about, yeah, brother, you know, you African, you came from Africa, you come from us. We don't come from you. And Tariq Nasheed will step here and try to argue with these people. But how you gonna argue with these people when that's your whole thing of FBA? You saying there was an ethnogenesis and that we came over from Africa. So you basically lining yourself up and letting these people say that we African and we come from them. We don't come from them. Our music don't come from them. We had our own independent culture and heritage here in America that had nothing to do with them. We have our own heritage and culture in America that go back to South America and to Central America and into North America that had nothing to do with them. The hell out of here with that. We the original Americans. The Mesoamericans, the American Indians, indigenous, we the original and only Americans. First means only. The Native Americans, they're Asiatic people. The white man, they're Caucasiatic people. And that's it. Real talk. So check me out. I'm gonna talk about this on TikTok. I'm gonna do a TikTok tomorrow. And again, please support the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. We need your help, man. Those of you, we want you. We're doing this in Atlanta, one of the American Indigenous meccas of the world for bronze people. We're doing it back in Atlanta again at Rodney Cook Senior Park. It's gonna be big and better. We're gonna be doing it on May, I want to say the 16th and the 17th of May, 2026. We're going to have a big festival. It's going to be big, beautiful. We're going to have live music. We're going to have DJ. We're going to have vendors out there. We're going to be wearing our feathered head crowns. We're going to be doing it up, man. We're going to do it up. If you want to participate in the conference, let us know. Hit me up on Facebook. I think we have a forget the a platform you can hit us up on, or just donate. Just donate to the festival. Donate $20, $30. You could do that. Pledge to donate. We're trying to raise that $24,000, and we're going to raise it. We got to get that, man. We got to keep this going. I love the energy. We broke our necks putting it on because we never did nothing like that before. Shout out to my lovely wives who helped. Both of my wives. I got two beautiful wives who helped. Shout out to my people in the community, all my people in the community, Republic of America, the registered Americans who helped them put this on, because we the only ones saying, okay, we know we American Indigenous. Now what? Now what? What should be next is a community, an American community, an American Indigenous community. And we have that. So join the Republic of America, ROA worldwide, for all of our Indigenous Americans everywhere. And that's it. I'm going to close this out. Lord, I'm and I trust it. Lord, I'm and I thank it. And Lord, I'm and I continue this message forward forever. I am the intellectual Lord Benjamin Manhattan, Chief Benjamin Manhattan. I'm going to throw that up there. This has been Supreme American TV. We're going to have some merchandise coming soon. I'm getting the site together, so forgive me for that. You can check out unlimitedepics.com. Check out Unlimited Epics, unlimitedepics.com. That should be in the description. And I'm closing out. What I'm closing out with. Let me see. I don't want to play no copyrighted music. Let me see. Well, to be safe, I'm gonna just close out with what I did. Free Nationals. I like this song Shibuya by Sid. She need to stop making that lesbian music, but shout out to her and the internet. Good night. I got the music. Where my music at? I want to close out with some music. Here we go. Good night, y'all. Good night.
We should stay.